Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss India's 1991 liberalization and LEAP reforms for today. Okay, for today. Why I have chosen this article? Not because it is a news on July 1st. I have chosen this article because this 1991, right? Which year now you are living in? 2021. So difference is 30 years. I have explained you many times that if anything, any policy completing 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, okay, then it will become very important for the UPSC. Okay, how I can say? You can go back to the 2016 mains. In 2016 mains, if you go back and check, they have asked 25 years. At the time the LPG reforms has completed 25 years, right? They have asked about the LPG reforms. Not only about the LPG reforms, they have even asked about the Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar question. Why they have asked about Mahatma Gandhi Ambedkar question? Because Mahatma Gandhi in 2016 the government has decided that we should celebrate 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi, and in 2016 Ambedkar, it is 125th birth year of the Ambedkar. So combinedly they have asked about the Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar. So you should be very much ready to address any question which is completing 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, etc. Okay, coming to this article, you can see this article. The article is nothing but it's an interview. Okay, interview with this person is giving answers. So it deals with evolution of economy since 1991 reforms. After 1991 reforms, how the economy has evolved, he explains in brief. Okay, and next one is he gives summary about the issues that present economy is facing. Means what? Present economy, what it is facing some issues, right? So those issues are not covered under the 1991 reforms. And next one is what government should do now, priorities should do now to overcome these difficulties, challenges in the economy. Okay, these are the main issues this article is talking about. Now the question is, see, I'm not going to discuss what this person has said. I'm going to discuss what is not there in this article. Why? Because see, many times UPSC has asked about the LPG reforms, because this is very favorite topic for the UPSC. Many times UPSC has asked this type of questions: what is LPG reforms, and discuss or critically examine, okay, the impact of LPG reform on the Indian economy. Okay, these type of questions UPSC has already asked. So now I don't think so UPSC in mains will ask again these type of questions. Okay, what is the space that UPSC has not asked till now? Means what? We all know what is LPG reforms, right? First question, if UPSC want to ask differently, it may ask what is the reason that pushed the Indian government to take such reforms. Okay, we all know that GDP is slowed down. Okay, and industries are not up to the mark. They are not performing to the up to the mark, and GDP of the agriculture is slowed down, and service sector is not doing well. Okay, all these things we can write in examination. If UPSC asks what are the causes for the LPG reforms, but UPSC will not ask such easy questions, right? Okay, because these type of questions are 1990s and early 2000s questions. Okay, now it is a modern world. Everybody is on internet. Everybody can search everything. They can read very much, and the competition has increased. So definitely UPSC is not going to ask such easy questions. UPSC will ask questions such as like this: give a reason account of the causes that led to the 1991 reforms. Comment. The point is here, I am not asking about just causes, I am asking for the reason accounts. Means what? You should be very specific with your reasons. Means what? You should put the facts. Okay. Why industries didn't grow? You should put the facts. Why agriculture GDP was declined? You should put the fact. Why the service sector picked up rapidly only after 1991? Why not before 1991? You should write that. And what are the other causes which has impacted the growth of GDP or growth of Indian economy? You should write that. Okay, then for to write that, definitely you should be having lot of knowledge. In that very short time, how many minutes you got to write? If this is 15 marker, within how many minutes you have to write? You have to write 11 to 12 minutes. Hardly will be getting time 10 seconds to think. Okay, so you should be well prepared for this type of questions. So that's why these type of questions are known as bouncers. Okay, because we never know, right, when the bowler will bowl bouncer. You should be ready for that also. So let's discuss with this question now. Before going into the question, let me explain what is LPG. LPG means what? This is liberalization, this is privatization, this is globalization. What is liberalization? Okay, we all fought for the liberation from the British, right? What is that liberation? Liberation from the British means what? We need freedom. Okay, we should not have any restrictions. Why we actually fought for the liberation? Okay, why we want? Because British are not ruling India according to our instincts. Okay, our wish. They are ruling according to their wish. That is what exploitation, like that. So we don't want that. Okay, we want our freedom. We want our people to rule us, because our people know about ourselves much better, right? So we took the national movement, national freedom movement. Likewise, liberalization is also, the meaning is there should not be restrictions in doing some professional works. That can be industries, opening of industries, doing some service sector activities, okay, and selling some agriculture products. There should not be any restrictions. That's why removing these restrictions is known as liberalization. Okay, what about the privatization? Privatization means what? Involving private players into the economy completely. Means what? Handing over the natural resources to the private players. Okay, that is known as privatization. So now you tell me, who is this private people? That can be citizens, that can be non-citizens. Non-citizen means foreigners. So it can be citizens plus foreigners. So when foreigners also involving in our economy, what does it mean? It means that globalization. Okay, so when privatization will take place? When there is liberalization. When liberalization is not there, privatization will not take place, because everything government will be owned, all the natural resources, whatever the stuff. Okay, so to happen for privatization to take place, liberalization is must. When these two takes place, then automatically globalization will takes place. Okay, because means what is globalization? Anybody can come and participate in our Indian economy, can establish their industries, and Indian citizens can go and establish in other countries industries, and trade, and what you call import and exports will happen with an ease. Okay, so all these things comes under the globalization. Now we'll take up this question now. Give a reason account of the causes that led to the 1991 reforms. What is this 1991 reforms? It is LPG. To understand this, what happened before 1991 means what? From 1951 to 1990. To understand what happened between this period of time, you should know the economic growth rate of the country. In 1951 to 1961, what is the economic growth rate? 3.9%. Definitely you should remember the decadal growth rates. Okay, it is very much important, and you can even use in very in any answer or in essays to quote as examples. Okay, otherwise if you write without the facts, what happens? It looks like a very abstract answer, so you may not get very good marks. So 1961 to 1971, the growth rate is 3.8, and 1971 to 1981 growth rate is 3.2. Very simple, 3.9, 3.8 and 3.2. Okay, now here 1981 to 1991, the growth rate is 5.6%. Here you should understand one thing. This period means what? This 30 years is known as Hindu growth rate. Why it is called it as Hindu growth rate? Because Hindu growth rate is nothing but low growth rate. Okay, continuously there is a low growth rate. Means what? 30 years of continuous. In 30 years there is continuously low growth rate that India has experienced. You can see India has not crossed 3.9, means India has not touched 4% of growth rate in last 30 years. Means what? 1951 to 1980 tak India has not achieved even 4% of growth rate. Okay, that's why we call it as this is Hindu growth rate. But in 1981 to 1991, India has achieved 5.6% of growth rate in the 10 years. Means what? 10 years before 1991 reforms, India has actually achieved 5.6% growth rate. That's why this year is known as breaking from the Hindu growth rate, coming out from the Hindu growth rate. Now the question is, why? Let me change the color. Why low growth rate, economic growth rate persisted for the first 30 years of independence? Okay, why? You should know why. For this to understand, you should know one concept. For any country to achieve a good growth rate, what is very important? The three sectors are very important. We all know. What are those three sectors? One, primary sector. Two, secondary sector. Three, tertiary sector. Okay, what is this actually? In primary sector, we all know which primary sector is very important for India. It is agriculture, right? Here manufacturing sector. Here service. It's actually service sector. Though these are three different type of sectors, but these three are dependent on each other. How? That also I'll explain here. This is the concept you definitely have to understand. Okay, here see, service sector growth is dependent on what? It depended on the, see, take example transport and finance. Okay, The growth of these two things will depends on what? The growth of the industrial sector, right? Okay, how? Because if the growth of the industrial sector increases, the production increases. Okay, by increasing the production, you need what you need? You need transportation to take these products to the market, right? And for increasing the industries, what you need? Production of industry, what you need? You need raw materials, right? If raw materials are not there, then transportation will not be there. For the raw materials, what should be there? Agriculture should be there, and mining, the primary sector, mining should be there. Okay, so the transportation alone is dependent upon the good growth of agriculture, mining, industrial production, everything. Okay, so like this it is interdependent. Service sector is interdependent on these other two sectors. Okay, now coming to the industry sector. How this industry sector is dependent on the other two sectors. If transportation is not doing good, how this industry sector will get raw materials, and who will take these final products to the market? Then it will not get any profit if the transportation is very poor. Okay, the next one is, if weak finance sector is there, means weak banking sectors. Okay, banking presence is very low, or insurance is low, like that. If it is there, then from where the industries will get investments, capital for investing, capital, who will give them? Okay, so the presence of finance is also very important. That's why the service sector should be very strong, otherwise industries cannot grow. And the same way, for industries to grow, like take agro industries, the industries depends upon the agriculture products. If those industries are not to grow, agriculture growth is very important, right? So like this, industry also depend upon the two other sectors. Likewise, the primary sector is also dependent upon the manufacturing sector and tertiary sector, because we all know that how much important for the agriculture. See, agriculture production is after producing good quantity of crop, okay, good quantity of food grains, then there should be some mechanism to take those food grains to the market, right? And they have to sell. Means what here again? The transportation plays a role, and marketing in tertiary sector, marketing plays a role. If transportation is not there and good market is not there, then the farmers will not earn any income. Okay, so farmers will not earn any income, and agriculture, good marketing is not there, and good storage is not there. What happens? If storage is not there, what happens? India produces lot of food grains, okay, but you have to store. If storage is not there, the food grains will get damaged, and food security issues will happen in India. So the tertiary sector is very important, that is a service sector. Likewise, industrial sector is also very important. Why it is very important? Who will give, by कौन देगा chemical fertilizers? Who will give pesticides, insecticides, and etc. and so on? Even missionaries. Who will give missionaries? Okay, so manufacturing sector is also very important. So all these three sectors depended upon each other, and the economic growth is depend upon all these three. Only if all these three do well, at least two among these three do well, then the country can achieve reasonable economic growth. Okay, this concept you should understand now, to discuss to understand why low economic growth rate was registered in the first 30 years, why India faced the Hindu rate growth for the first 30 years after the independence. First thing we'll talk about why industries has not shown any great contribution to the GDP. The reason is lack of freedom to do business. How we can say this? For that you have to understand that some policies. See, India has industrial policy enacted 1948. In this, see, I'm not going into detail. In exam also you should not write in detail, you won't be having that much time. Okay, you have to just say that they divided industries into strategic industries and public and private participation industries and some important industries and other industries. Okay, strategic industry is completely owned by the public public sector, means government. Here the public and private industries, you may think okay, here also private got the chance to make the do business, but actually for the namesake it is a public and private sector, but here the government dominated again. Okay, here some important industries, means what, these industries were given in these industries private sector can invest, but this investment is also controlled by the government. Okay, in other industries, these other industries are very small scale industries. This type of industry doesn't benefit much to Indian economy. So now what you can say here government is there, here government is there, here government is there. So government presence is in almost in every industry. So what happened, this led to the low growth rate of industries from 1948 to 1955. Okay, so the government has realized that, so we have to do something to the industries. Okay, so what is that something that government have to do? See, there are two type of goods, right? One is consumer goods. Mostly there are two types of consumer goods and capital goods. Okay, if you produce consumer goods, it may not benefit the economy that much, because it will directly consumed by the consumers, and it will just an transaction between the industry and the consumer. Okay, and it may benefit but not that much. But what about the capital goods? Capital goods means what? Okay, these industries will manufacture some machines. These machines will be used by other industries. Okay, these industries will produce the product. Means what? One industry's outcome is a raw material for another industry, and another industry outcome is a raw material for another industry. So like this, so many industries will develop. So this is the correct strategy to develop the country, by encouraging the capital goods industries. That's why government has thought that no, we should improve the capital goods industries and we should support the industries. So again government came up with the industrial policy 1956. Okay, is it benefited India? No, this is also not benefited India, right? Why? The same thing government has done. What it has done, it has divided the industries into Schedule A, Schedule B and Schedule C. Okay, these Schedule A will be completely under the control of the government, and the Schedule B is government plus private players participation, and Schedule C is left for the private only, but here also government has reserved some items. Okay, now you say, where is the freedom to expand, man? I have, take example, I have iron and steel industry. Okay, where is the freedom? I am getting money, but where is the freedom to invest in other industries? Okay, there is no freedom, because for everything I have to apply for the licenses again. Okay, so many licenses I have to apply, and I have to go under a huge process. That's why investment has not come, and it is completely actually this policy is completely, you can say, goes anti to the private sector, private participation interest. Okay, again this has discouraged private participation and investments. Now you only say these many restrictions are there now to private players to enter into the industries, because government and some in many industries the private players are not allowed it. Even if they are allowed it, they have to take licenses, they have to register. All these things are time taking. Apart from all these things, and in addition to this, the government in 1969 came up with MRTP. What is this MRTP? Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969. It further restricts company with assets more than 100 crores, right? Okay, if whoever company has asset more than 100 crores, they are further restricted to enter into other sectors. Okay, they are allowed only to invest in selective sectors. So what happens? Definitely it is one more obstacle, right? Already you have to take license, and what else, registration process is too long, and all these things they are suffering. Okay, now again these big companies are restricted. You always imagine who can invest in different companies, in different industries, different sectors, who have lot of money, right? So the guy who is having lot of money, you are restricting him to invest only in particular sectors. So how come the industry will grow? Industries will not grow then, when you have started restricting. This is a big blow to the industries. And what happened in 1975? Okay, in 1975 the government has understood, we are doing very wrong. Okay, means what? After 25 years of independence, they have understood that we are doing wrong. So what the government has done in 1975, it has delicensed 21 industries. Okay, one. The second thing is, delicense is one. The second thing is, it has allowed the industries to expand unlimited capacity in 30 other industries. Okay, means what? It has actually given some leverage to the industries. Actually this will benefit, because delicensing 21 industry means now you no need of any license, you can just go and invest. So now you can say that now at least from 1975 onwards, the industrial sector should increase in India, right? That is a logical conclusion you should get. But it has not happened. Why it has not happened? Because of what happened in 1973. Very big thing happened in the global economy. What is that? Oil crisis. This oil crisis has affected the Indian industry, who are already facing the burden of all these licenses, registrations, and recently in 1969 that Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, all this burden. In addition to this oil crisis happened. Okay, it has impacted. And another reason is, in 1995 we spoke that government has delicensed 21 industries. But you have to understand that 25 years the administration, means bureaucracy, has been habit of giving license, means the power is with the bureaucracy. Suddenly if you remove that power, it takes time to adjust, right? They are not obeying that rules that government is passed, that is delicense. So that process went on very slowly. Delicensing process has not taken place with immediate effect. Okay, this is the reason. And another reason is, though there is a delicensing process, okay, the government has taken up, but what about this MRTP? MRTP is there, right? Still you are restricting the big companies. Okay, this is also reason. Restrictiveness is there still, and red tapeism is there, and there are many other issues. That's why again the government, again the industries has not grown. So by this you can conclude that from 1951, you can say 1948 Act, from 1951 to 1980 tak, the reason why the industries has not grown is the above reasons. That's why industries also contribution of industry to the GDP is very low. Now coming to the service sector, agriculture, the primary sector. Okay, in primary sector mostly we are going to talk about the agriculture, because we all know that agriculture is what we always listen one thing: agriculture is backbone of India, agriculture is backbone of India. Now you have to understand how this backbone is there, how it became backbone. Because since the 1951 means since independence, otherwise before independence also we can talk, but it is irrelevant now to talk about it. Okay, after independence agriculture became backbone, not because it have to feed millions of people, not because of that, because not only because of that, the another reason is majority of the people depended on the agriculture for the unemployment, for the employment. Okay, for the employment they have depended on the agriculture. Now you say, we are saying the majority of people. Okay, when the agriculture, if agriculture output is 100 rupees, take example, okay, and the people depended on this agriculture is 10,000 rupees. When you divide these 100 rupees with the 10,000 rupees, 10,000 people, how much each person will get? Each person will get 0.01 rupees. Is it sufficient? No, right? Because here the lot many of people are there. Okay, you have to make this agriculture profit. What you have to do, you have to make the people dependent on the agriculture as 50 members, so that each person will get 2 rupees. Okay, the point is now how to remove these 50 these number of people. You cannot remove, because the industry is also not growing. We have seen what happened from 1950 to 1980 now. Okay, industries are not growing, so how can you will remove the people? Definitely you cannot remove the people. So what happened in 1950 to 1960 or 64 tak, our agriculture production is very low. Why it is very low? Because India is a rich country or poor country? Poor country, right? In 1951 at least we are very poor country. Okay, and people don't have money to invest on agriculture. Okay, they don't have any new technologies to invest. So our Indian agriculture is just subsistence. Okay, means what? Okay, we have done the agriculture, whatever the output they will get, and it will be sufficient to the farmers only. Okay, and if at all very little surplus is there, they will do some batter system. They will follow some batter system. I will give you some rice, you give me some wheat. I'll give you some wheat, you give me ragi. Like that, some batter system is there. Okay, so during these first 10 years of independence, means at least 1951 to 1960, it was a 1960, actually 1964 tak, it was a subsistence agriculture. Now you may ask, if it is subsistence agriculture, then how come the entire population got the food? Okay, food grains, because who are doing farming, they are getting food. What about the others who are not doing farming? Yes, exactly the case. That's why India has faced food security issues. Okay, food security issues India has faced, right? We all know it. How we know it? Increase in imports of the food securities happened during this period. But increasing imports of the food securities, what happens? It will increase the burden on the government, because imports are increasing. Means what? Government have to pay for the imports. Okay, our foreign exchange on our foreign exchange reserves, the burden will increase. To stop this, government came up with green revolution. We all know that green revolution. This green revolution also happened in two phases, three phases. Okay, one 1966 to 1972, 1973 to 1980, and 1981 to 1990. In these three phases, the green revolution has happened. Now the question is, then green revolution happened, right? Then it should have benefited Indian agriculture, and India's agriculture's contribution to the GDP should have increased. But it has not happened. Why? Because in the first, it has not happened. Why? Because in the first 1966 to 1972, this is the first phase of revolution, right? Okay. Till now, what we have discussed, before 1966, what happened? We are facing crisis. Okay, we are facing crisis. Crisis means what? Take example. Now you have to pay 100 rupees to your friend. Okay, but you have 0 rupees. You don't have anything now. You are literally on the roads. Okay, but you have to pay 100 rupees to your friend. Okay, now what you will do? You will go and work now. Okay, you will start earning every day or every month 10 rupees, 10 rupees, 10 rupees. In this 10 rupees, 10 rupees, 10 rupees, you will be paying to him 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 2 rupees for your sustenance. If you pay entire 10 rupees, then how you will live? You cannot live, right? 2 rupees, 2 rupees, 2 rupees, 2 rupees, you will keep with you, and you will give 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees. Like this, you will be paying for him for next 12 months. Okay, after these 12 months only, till these 12 months, what you will call? You are sustaining yourself. Okay, by paying the debt that you have borrowed from your friend. Like that only here also, the production is increased. Definitely the wheat production has increased to the highest level that India has not seen in its last 16 years or 20 years of its agriculture. But is it benefited the GDP? No, it has not benefited the GDP, because whatever India has produced, wheats, whatever, it goes to the, because we are not surplus, right? We are in deficit. Okay, we are in minus. Okay, that is going, and these wheat surplus going and filling our deficit. Okay, filling our deficit. So India has came to, from food insecurity country to, it has turned to food insecurity or food deficiency country to, it has turned to self-sufficient country, right? Food deficient country to self-sufficient country, it has turned. But you may ask, however, the production is increasing, right? So means what? We are selling lot of food grains, right? Then it should contribute to the GDP, you may ask. But it has not contributed to the GDP, because agriculture is not just about the wheat, right? Agriculture is about more than a wheat. One thing. The second thing is, this first phase is concentrated only in Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Okay, if you produce more amount of food in these regions, maybe these regions may benefit. But what about the other regions? Definitely the regions in this, the farmers has benefited, middlemen has benefited, the states has benefited. But when you see the overall contribution of agriculture from Kanyakumari to Jammu Kashmir, from Porbandar to Silchar, if you see, then definitely it has not contributed, because the green revolution is only in these three regions as of now in the first phase. So overall the agriculture is same in India. So in this period also, though the green revolution has taken part, it has some benefits that farmers and some states has benefited, but overall if you take, it has not benefited because these HYV seeds are only of wheat. Now what happens, now in 1973 to 1980, what happened? Here the green revolution phase 2 happens. In the phase 2 what happens, the wheat and rice is produced. Okay, the wheat and rice crops are produced by using HYV seeds. HYV means high yielding variety seeds. Okay, now you may say the two crops, right? But still the agriculture GDP has agriculture contribution to the GDP has not increased. Why? Because here you have to understand, in 1973 what happened? Fuel crisis. Okay, fuel crisis has affected our transportation sector, okay, our manufacturing sector, industrial sector, everything, right? Obviously it will affect the agriculture also. Why it will affect? Because without the transportation, how the marketing will happen, who will take the transport to the market, and there is no storage also. Storages means cold storage also, they are not there all over the India to store the food grains. So this period India has seen the worst wastage of food grains. And apart from this, there is one thing happened. The government took over this wholesale market. Means what? Now the wholesale market came under the control of the government. Okay, now this is a disaster step that government has took. After taking over this wholesale market, due to corruption and other issues, India has faced 2 years consecutively droughts. Okay, and with the news that government has taken over the wholesale market and the growing corruption and so many other things happening, it has discouraged agriculture. So in these 2 years you can see that there is drastic reduction in agriculture production. Okay, this also has affected the agriculture growth rate between 1973 to 1980. If you observe here one thing very clearly, what happened in 1975? Can you recall the most, you can say that most unwanted thing, that is the biggest strategy happened to our democracy. What is that? Emergency happened. Okay, all the political leaders are arrested, that is a different issue. Okay, emergency took place from 1975 onwards, right? So imagine that impact also is there on the agriculture, because when the government is focusing on the political reforms or political structure, now what about the economic reforms and agriculture structure? Obviously it has, these also impacted the agriculture. And this is about 1951 to 1980, why the agriculture contribution to the GDP has declined. Not only from 1951 to 1980, even today the agriculture contribution to the GDP has been declining since 1951. But beach mein 1 year, 2 years it has contributed. Its contribution has increased by 1% or 2%, but otherwise it's constantly declining. And coming to the service sector now. See, service sector between 1951 to 1980, what happened? Here we all know that what is service sector. Service sector includes transportation, storage, agriculture, finance, okay, personal care, community care, okay, educate, personal means community care means will come health, education, health services, and personal care means dry cleaning, etc. All these things comes under the service sector, right? Now you tell me, in 1951 to 1961, in this period, what is the education growth in India? Literacy is around, I guess, 7.6%. Okay, so you can actually remove education in this period. Actually, here only traditional service sectors were present in this period. What is the traditional service sector? That is transportation, storage, hotels, defense, retail, and wholesale. These are the traditional services. Okay. Now you tell what happened to agriculture and secondary structure, that is manufacturing units. If these tradition, transportation, storage, defense leave it, retail, wholesale, hotels have to increase, these growths, the growth of these things depends on what? Depends upon the growth of industrial sector, right? Okay, if industrial sector and our primary sector, not only agriculture, primary sector, you can say mining, etc., quarrying, etc. Okay, if primary sector have, if only if the primary sector and industrial sector grows, the transportation will grow. Okay, and the tourism will grow, hotels will grow. Okay, not only tourism, and business tourism will grow, medical tourism will grow, and many other things will grow. And retail and wholesale completely depend on what? The growth of primary sector, especially agriculture, and the growth of industrial sector. So because these things has not grown, this is also not grown. It has maintained its constant contribution to the GDP. As simple as that. Okay, now what happened in 1961 to 1971? Do you think hotels grew in this period? Hotels, restaurants, and other tourism grew in this period. It's very logic. You no need to know the facts here. How come they will grow? Because India has facing food security, right? Food deficiency. Okay, food deficiency entire India is facing. We are importing lot of food grains. That what I explained in the agriculture topic. We are importing. That's why these hotels and tourism and other restaurants has not grown at all. Okay, people are suffering. India have seen the drought, that too in 19, that I will discuss later on. So this thing has not benefited the service sector. The what you call the food deficiency has affected in service sector, that is the hotels and everything. Okay, now you say, when the people are suffering for the food, people are starving, do you think education sector will grow? Okay, definitely it will not grow, because whoever earning, even if they earn 10 rupees, even 1 rupee, what they will think first I have to feed my family. Okay, so again the education sector here also has not grown. Okay, now you say the capital availability means what? The banking systems, insurance. Okay, अरे भाई, लोग के पास खाना नहीं है पहले, और एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है. Why? Because of industries are not growing. Most of the people working on the agriculture only. Moreover, here you have to understand that the land reforms that government has taken, the land reforms also failed. Okay, many people didn't get, the landless people has not gotten any land from the from this land record, and the rent regulation has not there. It's a big issue. Okay, you can just say in examination, land reforms has failed. Okay, so now people के पास क्या है? फूड नहीं है, फूड ग्रेन्स नहीं है, they don't have access to the food grains, because the agriculture is becoming burden, the agriculture is not doing well, and they don't have enough income also, right? Now what you can say. And employment, when it comes to employment, industrial sector is not doing well. Okay, so because if any country have to grow, right, manufacturing unit is very much important, because only the manufacturing unit can provide large amount of employment. If manufacturing unit is not doing well, then that country will suffer, like how India is suffering now. That's why Make in India, all these things came. Okay, if these things are not there, if these three things, the people are struggling from these three things, aap bolo, you can search by, you can think by yourself that banking, insurance, and education and every other things will not grow, right? Transportation, sorry, service sector will not grow. Here the service sector has been impacted, in this transportation has been impacted, and storage has been impacted. Now in 1961, 1971, even these things are impacted. Okay, so almost the service sector also not shown any increased, significant increased contribution. Okay, yes, we cannot say that service sector has completely fallen. Okay, it has shown some significant contribution to the GDP. Now what happened 1971 से 1980 तक क्या हुआ है? Here now people are realized, okay, because of now what you call green revolution phase 1, now the India became self-sufficient country, right? India became now self-sufficient country, that we have to understand. When India became self-sufficient country, we try to invest on the next important thing, that is education. Okay, now education started growing little bit, not like explosive like nowadays, but explosively it has not increased, but little bit it started showing the growth. Okay, however, transportation has been impacted. Why? Because of fuel crisis. Okay, अभी example ले लो. Now right now the petrol rate has increased. For 1 liter is equal to, I guess, 105 rupees. Okay, now how it has been impacting the transportation, 10 times more it has impacted transportation at that time, because of oil crisis happened. And here again little bit banking sector has started showing positive in these 10 years 1971 to 80, because of nationalization of banks. And the insurance sector also started showing some positive, because government is started promoting insurance. Like this, the service sector has grown in these 10 years 4%. But however, means previously in the previous 2 years, 20 years, service sector has grown by 1.2% or 1.3% like that, but here it has shown the 4% growth. Okay, but however, this has not benefited the economic growth or GDP, because the other two sectors I already told here when I am explaining. Okay, at least two sectors of the country should do well, otherwise the country will face the decline in economic growth. Okay, so because agriculture and manufacturing sector has not doing that well, actually agriculture contribution to the GDP has declined also. Okay, declined by, I guess, in 1980s by almost 4 to 5%, I guess. Okay, so because of these two sectors, these contribution cannot be seen. That's why again in service sector also 1951 to 1980 the growth was low, so the GDP growth also low. See, here we cannot say, nowhere I am saying that in manufacturing sector and in service sector in last 3 years, in last 30 years, there is no growth at all. We cannot say that, because the public sector companies and some private sector companies has contributed. Here the point is, we are talking about the growth rate is low. Why the Hindu rate means what? The low growth rate. Why India failed to cross for 4% of growth rate, economic growth rate? That I am talking. Means what? Every year there is a growth rate, 3.9%, 3.8%, 3.2%, the overall economic growth rate. But it is very low, right? Okay, for the country like India, it is very low. Developing country, for the developing country there will be more ambitions, okay, to achieve, so more aspirations from the people, but still there is low growth rate. Means what? Every sector has contributed to the GDP, but not to the high level. Why it is not contributing to the high level? We are talking. I have explained you now. Okay, in the last 30 years, why the three sectors was growing very low. Okay, why agriculture has actually declined its contribution to the GDP, especially we have discussed now. Now what happened in 1981 to 1990? So that we have registered, first time we have came out of Hindu rate and registered 5.6% growth rate, economic growth rate. What is the reason? Okay, for that you have to know about what the government taken some steps in the industrial sector. What is those steps? Industry. Take industry as example. Actually, no, in 1981, actually if you see, from 1981 to 1984 tak, there was low growth only. GDP has not grown much, but from 1985 the GDP growth has increased. Okay, means what? Economic growth has increased. Why it has happened? Because of government has released a policy. In that policy, what has happened? Has exempted 27 industries from what? Where? We have been saying one thing, we have been talking about one thing, that is this one. Okay, about MRTP, exempted from the MRTP. And after that, the next initiative is what? Government has followed the scheme of re-endorsement of capacity. Okay, now government has allowed the private players to increase the capacity of the industries. Okay, next one, allowed the private players to invest in the industries up to 49%. Okay, why? For modernization of industries, because private players not only will bring the capital, it will also bring the technology. So here the growth rate, because of this thing, the industries has registered, their contribution to the GDP has increased. Okay, another thing is what? Agriculture. Now in agriculture is a third phase, right? That is green revolution now experienced third phase from 1981 to 1990. Here what happened in this third phase? Okay, these HYV seeds now expanded. Means what? This green revolution has even spread to the eastern states. Okay, so you can say now wheat and rice production has increased. But you hear increased, yes, we all agree that it has increased. Okay, the growth you can see, but the green revolution HY seeds started exhausting. Means what? They are not able to give as much as production that was expected. We all know, right? When you are using artificial take example Red Bull. Okay, you are drinking Red Bull. Okay, one day if you drink, you will get energy. Second day you will get. Third day you will get. Fourth day. After 5 days, if you're still drinking Red Bull or any energy drinks, what happens? You will not feel any energy. You feel like normal. Okay, it is a normal drink. It will become like one of the Coke or some Pepsi, like that. You don't feel any energy. Apart from that, even you feel that exhausted. You are exhausted because what these energy drinks will do to your body. It will use all the energy in what all your calories to produce energy, right? Okay, after that definitely you will, how much ever you drink, it will not be enough to increase your energy. Likewise, the same thing with the seeds, HYB seeds. When you keep using the HYB seeds, then the soil also will become habituated with the HYB seeds, so the growth will not be that much. It will be there but not to that much. If you see the production rates now, right now, who are using these HYB seeds is saturated. Okay, it's not increasing now anymore. Okay, it's not increasing. Apart from this, now what happened because of HYB seeds? Okay, they need what they need. They need fertilizers, they need pesticides, they need irrigation equipments, everything. So how the poor farmers will actually buy these things? They cannot buy, right? That's why government started giving subsidies. Okay, this is the third phase of green revolution. Means it's 20 years of almost green revolution. 20 years government is increasing the giving the subsidies, and the green revolution is spreading to other states. So the subsidies are increasing, the debt of the government is increasing, so burden on the government is also increasing. So overall, again because of this, seeds production is not increasing. Already agriculture is not contributing to the GDP, right? Okay, now the production started reducing. Okay, not reducing in the sense you don't think that it is going negative, it's slow down, that's it. So automatically its contribution to the GDP also reduced little bit. Okay, now coming to the service sector, because the industries are doing well, transportation is doing well. Okay, because incentives given to the exports. Okay, so export is increasing. Export is a service sector, right? Export started increasing because the government has done the nationalization of banks, so the banking activity started growing. At least industrial sector using banks a lot, and the exporters are using banks a lot, like that. That's why the banking activity is going. And education sector started showing contribution to the growth. And the health sector became a very important sector in the service sector now. And most important thing is, from 1980s government also started focusing on IT, communication a lot. Okay, so this sector also started growing. So overall, during this period, the service sector growth has increased, and the contribution to the GDP also seen around 6% of the growth. Okay, that's why though the agriculture has not contributed, but these two has contributed, right? Manufacturing and service sector. That's why India has registered 5.6% growth rate. And you can conclude saying that these reforms, especially the reforms taken in 1981 to 1990, is the stepping stone for the 1991 reforms. In 1990, it's now you know that what are the issues. See, if you know now this background, what are the issues facing by the agriculture and manufacturing sector and tertiary sector, that is service sector. Now you can easily come to know that if you are a policy maker, now you can easily know, right? Okay, industry sector is facing issues from the lack of participation of private or players. Why they are not participating? Because of restrictions imposed in the 1948 policy, 1956 policy, 1969 MRTP Act. Okay, and these are the issues. So now what you have to do in the LPG, definitely you will liberalize everything. Okay, now you will start giving access to the private players. Automatically you will know, because when you know the issues, now you will know what to do also, right? The same with the service sector. What you have to do now, nationalization of bank you have done, fine, but how long it will sustain? It will not sustain. You have to, because if only government is present, monopoly will be there. Okay, you have to allow the private players also to increase the competition. So when the competition is there, then the more and more banks will come up, and it will go, and they will even go and settle in semi urban areas, other areas, like that. And the insurance also will grow like that only. And education, when you allow the private players to establish education, the education will increase. That's why, right, nowadays engineering education became very cheap and very accessible to many people. Why? Because of participation of the people. Now you say, now you imagine having a phone or TV in 1980s. You will be looked as you are a king. Now nobody care. Why? Because you have given access to the private players to auction in the spectrum, and to come in to participate in the communication and technology. Okay, like that you will know the solutions. When you know the problems, you can frame your own solution. All these steps were taken in the LPG reforms, that you can read anywhere, you will get. But this type of information you may not get. That's why I focused to give this type of information by framing this question. Which question? This one. If UPSC asks tomorrow, you should write definitely very good answer, right? So this understanding will enable to write a good answer actually. But you cannot write all these things. Okay, I have explained you all these things in detail. Whatever you have understood, you should write in words. Okay, one sentence, in two sentence, but definitely you should write year wise. Okay, what the sector wise. Okay, the 1948 may you are writing why the agriculture. See, first itself you are saying that why industry is going slow, the growth rate is low, and why their contribution to the GDP is very low in last 30 years. For that, definitely you can say industrial policy 1948 56, and this MRTP Act. Okay, and 1975 Act has failed. Like this for everything. For these 4 points, one sentence over. And next, when you come to the agriculture, you have to say that in 1951 to 1964 we are facing food insecurity because of subsistence agriculture. Okay, and that has not contributed to the any GDP and all. And we are importing. Okay, that has been increased the burden on the government. And now when you come to phase 1 of green revolution, what green revolution phase 1 has did, only benefited only particular crop, that is wheat, and particular states, the 3 states. But India is not only one crop, based on one crop. Indian agriculture not depend upon one crop, it depend. And India is not only these 3 states. So overall agriculture contribution to the GDP is low. And the second phase issues, you can say the oil crisis and government taking over the wholesale market, droughts. Okay, all this has impacted. And third phase, you can say the other issues, because by then the stagnation came up. Okay, the oil, the HYV seeds are exhausted, the production has slowed down. Okay, like this you can say. And the service sector, one sentence. Okay, because I have in service sector also I have spoke about 1951 to 1961, 1961 to 1971, 1980 to 1981. One sentence or two sentence over, and the conclusion. Like this, if you write, then you will get definitely very good marks. That's it. Thank you.